In the year 2017, the Poughkeepsie tapes, a pseudo-documentary horror film, was released in the United States. This film is about how a serial killer documented all the torture and abuse his victims suffered on videotapes. The tapes were 800 in total, each one more gruesome than the last. Today we are going to be looking at one of the real-life cases the Poughkeepsie tapes was based on. This video contains themes of sexual assault and violence. Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Omodele Salu, and if you're here, that means you're invested in true crime contents as much as I am. So welcome, take a seat. I am going to be posting a lot of contents like this, so if this is something that you like, please like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on so you can get notified when I post a new video. Now that all that is out of the way, let's get right into today's case. The once sleepy town of Poughkeepsie was awoken when 3 women disappeared within the space of 4 months. The first woman was 30-year-old Wendy Myers. She was a sex worker who worked in the downtown area of Poughkeepsie, and she went missing on the 24th of October 1996. The second woman, Gina Baron, went missing on November 29th of that same year. In January of 1997, Caitlin Hawley also disappeared. Their disappearances were so suspicious and also very similar. These 3 women were all white and slightly built. The Poughkeepsie police were immediately interested in this case, and as they progressed with their investigations, they found out that a lot of the mainstream sex workers were complaining about this one particular man. They said that this man was very violent with them during sex, and he was also really mean to them. The name of this man was Kendall Francois. Kendall Francois was born on the 26th of July 1971 to Paulette and McKinley Francois in Poughkeepsie, New York. Kendall grew up to be really tall and huge, and he used this height and body to his advantage. He played football at Arlington High School, and when he graduated in 1989, he enlisted in the U.S. Army instead of pursuing sports. In 1990, he graduated from basic training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and returned home to enroll at Dutchess County Community College in 1993. Francois was a liberal arts major. He was also working as a hall and detention monitor at Arlington Middle School, and he would often make these inappropriate sexual jokes with the female students. And get this, at this point, Francois was 6'4" tall and weighed 250 pounds. And the students did not really pay much attention to him, though. This huge man, they weren't paying that much attention to him. But one thing they noticed, though, was how badly he stunk. And trust kids to be kids, they gave him the nickname Stinky. When the authorities found out about Francois, they also found that he had charges of assault against him. He was immediately a suspect, and they watched him for weeks, but nothing came of it. One of the sex workers eventually cooperated and allowed herself to be wired. She was to talk to Francois and try to see if she could get anything from him, but on no account was she to enter his car, a white Toyota Camry. After weeks of trying, again, nothing came of this. 2 months later, in March of 1997, a pregnant woman, Catherine Marsh, was reported missing by her mother. Catherine was last seen on the 11th of November 1996, also in the city of Poughkeepsie. Search parties were organized to search areas in and around the city. They also used cadaver dogs to see if something would come up. Nothing did. It was so weird how these women just vanished in the same area, and there were no bodies or anything to indicate what had happened. If they had been killed, arrested in some other district, or simply just got fed up and moved away. The local police decided to involve the FBI to see how they could help with this case, probably to create a serial killer profile to make it easier to catch the killer. But the FBI said that a serial killer profile wasn't going to be possible without at least a crime scene. On the 9th of October 1997, Michelle Eason was reported missing. She too was last seen in the downtown area of Poughkeepsie. Unlike the other missing women, she was black. This is not to say she had nothing in common with the other missing women, because like the other missing women, she was also slightly built. 1 month later, in November of 1997, Mary Heey Giacone was reported missing, but she was reported missing by the police. Mary's mother had died, and Mary's father tried to reach out to Mary to tell her the bad news, but he couldn't, so he decided to ask the police for help. And when the police did their investigations, they found out that Mary was last seen in February 1997 in the city of Poughkeepsie. The similarities between the girls were so striking. All of the girls lived in and around the Poughkeepsie area. Most of them were not in regular contact with their families. A lot of them had been arrested for sex work, and all of them were slightly built. The police tried to figure out what the hell was happening, but they couldn't come up with anything useful. They had one other suspect though, but they soon found out that he wasn't in Poughkeepsie during the time of some of the murders. That left Francois, as his name kept coming up. They picked him up for an interview and he was really cooperative, and because they didn't really have anything on him, any evidence on him, they had to let him go. An officer followed him back to his house, and Francois even led the officer into his bedroom. The officer said that the place smelled really bad and there was just like garbage everywhere. Not long after, Francois was reported for assault yet again. He had picked a sex worker up and brought her back to his apartment, and they had like a small fight over money, and he got so angry, punched her in the face, and when she fell to his bed, he jumped right on top of her, placed his bare hands around her neck and started squeezing. She was begging him, pleading with him not to kill her, that she would have sex with him. So he agreed, and when he was done, he just like took her back to where he had picked her up from. She reluctantly pressed charges, and Kendall Francois was arrested. He pleaded guilty to third-degree assault, and he spent just 15 days in jail. In June of 1998, mother of 3, Sandra Jean French, vanished. The press started to call this killer the Poughkeepsie Killer, and by the end of summer of 1998, one other woman went missing, Katina Newmaster. She too was known to move around the downtown area of Poughkeepsie. The police seemed to be stuck, but there was one thing that kept on bothering them, one recurringly, the downtown area of Poughkeepsie City, so they decided it was time to patrol the area. On the 1st of September 1998, the Poughkeepsie police detectives spent their afternoon handing out flyers relating to Katina Newmaster's disappearance, and they needed to get gas, so they were heading to a gas station, and they saw Francois heading out of that same gas station. They waved at him and he waved back. When they got to the gas station, they got out of the vehicle. A man rushed to them to tell them that a woman said she had just been assaulted nearby. As they were questioning the woman and she was describing her attacker, they realized that the woman was talking about Kendall Francois. She filed an official complaint against Francois, who had been a regular customer on her street for years. They arrested Kendall Francois, and it did not take much for him to confess to the assault. He also made really implicating statements, and he just outrightly confessed to the murder of Katina Newmaster. But that was not all. On the 2nd of September 1998, a search warrant was issued for the Francois house, and this allowed investigators to search through the entire house. There was garbage everywhere in the house. Clothes were piled and scattered on almost every inch of floor space. Sheets were pulled over the windows, and there were insects everywhere. They found a graveyard he had made in his attic. Decaying corpse after decaying corpse, they found much more than anyone could handle. The attic had the smell of feces all over it, and the house smelled of rotten flesh. Audrey Pugliese, a victim who had not been reported missing, was also found in the house. People and the press started to gather in the streets. Some ran away when they perceived the stench. What was most worrisome about the whole situation was that his entire immediate family lived in that house with him. So his mom, his dad, and his sister, they were all there with him. Is it that they did not perceive the odor, or did they suspect what was going on with him and they were just too scared to talk about it? 1 week later, Francois pleaded not guilty. It didn't matter though, there was enough evidence to get him the death penalty. According to reports, he would beat, rape, and choke his victims. He was charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and attempted assault on the 13th of October 1998. Despite the district attorney requesting the death penalty, New York state law mandated only a jury could impose it under the circumstance. The jury finally came to a decision, and on the 11th of August 1999, Kendall Francois was sentenced to life in prison. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Yo, please like and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you for the next one.